All right. Hey guys, this is Narendra here. I'm gonna be handling programming in C for y'all. This video is just gonna be a little introduction to the everything I'm going to cover. Uh, Before we dive into what I am going to cover in this, uh, just a few pointers, let's call it, pun intended. All right. First of all, C is not a subject that I would recommend you guys like crunch at the very last minute, right? Uh, because let's take Python for those of you who have already done it in 11th and 12th. Unlike Python, C deals with a lot of low-level concepts. So to properly understand C, you need an understanding of those low-level concepts as well, as opposed to just knowing the syntax of a function or knowing what functions to import in Python, right? So I would really suggest you guys don't push this until the last minute. All right. Second thing, let's say you ignored the first pointer. If you're like me, you end up covering everything at the very last minute you can. So here's the thing. Start with the topics you have little to no idea about. It's better to know something about them than just know a very few topics that you already do, right? So start with just speed run through the topics you don't know, but always take the time to understand. If you don't understand something, just go over it again. Granted, you manage the time, obviously. And for the topics you already know, just go through a quick summary from your notes or whatever. All right, you do have time. Congratulations. I'm jealous of you. Okay, so here's what you do if you have a lot of time to go through this properly. Cover all the concepts individually. Don't skip anything. That's a given. Second, as much as I would like to dive into the deep nitty-gritty details of C, we don't have the time to do that here. So I'm going to skip over some details, even though that bums me out a lot. So you are going to have to dig a little deeper. Whatever you need for your exams per se is going to be covered here, but if you dig a little deeper, you might get a clearer understanding. That will help you not mug up stuff and actually understand stuff, right? So those nitty-gritty details that I'll skip over, I highly encourage you guys to just have a look over that stuff. Third, and I cannot stress this enough, code as you progress. C is a programming language and not just a theoretical subject. So you guys have to write some code. Not just code along with me whatever I cover in the videos. Take the code I do and modify it. See how modifying it changes it. See what errors you get. See how the output changes if you change some stuff. Mess around. Find out what happens if you change stuff. Alright. Uh, the goal of this playlist is just to have a thorough understanding of everything that's in your syllabus. And secondly, to be able to reason out why something is the way it is. Say, let's not take a specific example because I'm assuming zero knowledge for now. Say you have a function. It does something specific. It can be done in other ways, presumably. W- But it will pick a specific way of doing things, right? Because you have to pick one solution among many. Why that specific solution? You guys have to be able to reason out why. That should be our target. All right, moving on to what's going to be covered. We have this video, the introduction. Second, number systems. Just a very brief overview because you'll learn that in depth in, say, digital design. The compilation process. This is going to be a little bit of theory. For why main is again a little bit of theory. I can't really give a one-line description as to what that is. Algorithms and flowcharts. Again, some theory. Just how to write algorithms, what are algorithms, and why algorithms. And flowcharts is just a little, we'll get to that. And data types. Data types 1 and 2 is going to be covering declaration, initializations, and the built-in types, right? You don't have to know what I'm saying, just giving you an overview for those who understand. And then operators 1, 2, 3. The split into manageable chunks, that's all. Flow control statements, and then operators 4. We have input output terminal, input output arrays and strings, pointers, and some more stuff for pointers, and then functions. Again, split into manageable chunks. So functions 1 is a little intro. Functions 2 is going to get into the concept of something called call by reference. And function 3 is recursion, which is okay. I don't know of a one-line summary of recursion, so let's just keep it for late. And then we get to memory management, scopes and lifetimes. Scopes and lifetimes won't be strictly there for your exam, but I think it's a neat thing to keep in your head. That will help you while you actually code or write programs for your exam, right? So it's not this thing, scopes and lifetimes is not strictly in your syllabus, but it will help you guys code. And structures and designing functions for structures, and then file IO. All right. Moving on to installing. Installing as in GCC. I'm just gonna say GCC here. I'm not gonna deal with any other alternative compilers. So Mac, you guys want to use this thing called Homebrew. Most of you probably already have it. The website link is brew.sh. Just install this. You just copy this and run it in your terminal. And then you can use brew to install GCC. We have wget here. You can just do brew install GCC instead. Linux, you guys probably already have GCC installed. If you don't, just look up how to install GCC. It'll most likely be a package called GCC. However, the package manager you is distro dependent. So just use apt on Debian or Ubuntu and Pacman on Arch and so on and so forth. Just look up the distro specific stuff. The package is most likely going to be called GCC. Android, if you, I would really suggest you guys find a way to get access to a laptop or a desktop. Until then, you can use Termux. So Termux, you can go to the web F-Droid App Store here. One second, my Wi-Fi is kind of buggy. All right, while we wait for that to load, Termux is essentially a Linux-like environment. All the stuff will hopefully be linked in the description. Uh, so you just use, yeah, this thing. Termux, you can either install the F-Droid app, which is like the Play Store, or you can go down here and then grab the download APK right here under the version. You can install Termux, and then within Termux you can install GCC. It'll be under the Clang package or the libllvm package. Both work. Windows, I would really suggest you guys try to use WSL to get a Linux environment. WSL is basically first party virtual machines for Linux, dumbing it down. MinGW is like a Windows port of GCC. So MinGW installing it is a little hard, but you can just go to this link. Should be linked in the description again. Yeah, and then you can just download it from there. All right, there you go. All right, editors. Editors, you guys can use whatever you want. If you're on desktop, my recommendation would be Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, not Visual Studio. There's a difference with the C++ extension. It should be the most popular C++ extension if you search that up. If you're on Android, I personally use the Z editor on Android. Also available on F-Droid. Also probably linked in the description. Alright, a little intro to compile and executing. Uh, Here we are. So to compile stuff, we use the gcc command. You can do hello world.c, which is the input file. Dash o means output, and then hello world. You're telling it to compile the hello world.c files and output it to a file called hello world. And then to run it, you just give it the file path. Your shell will just run it. So we have the code here, just prints hello world, right? Simple stuff. And if you don't specify O, it's gonna be in a dot out. Hopefully this is visible. Right, cool. And that's it for the intro, guys.